Hello, everybody. I know it's been quite a few days since I posted anything, but I've been just overwhelmed with work and other things, other priorities in my life right now. I also wanted to just take a break, at least a week, from posting and uploading videos. I've been going full throttle in 2020, as posting 3 videos a week basically. And so I needed a little bit of a breather to be able to catch my breath and just kind of, regroup. Obviously dealing with a few, personal things. But, I'm here. I haven't gone anywhere. I keep thanking you all for following me. And I know today is one of those videos that many of you are interested in hearing my thoughts on the critical mass 1.5 footers that you see on top of the Boulder amplifiers right now. And what are my thoughts? What's the takeaway? What's Jay's opinion of this tweak? I know there's a lot of you, there are many of you out there who use critical mass, whether it be the stands, the shelves, the filters, the footers. Many of you, love the brand and love what it brings to the table in terms of tonality, in terms of sonic improvements across the board with your current setup. But as you know, I am going to report my findings and what I think of things in my room with my setup and what I own. This does not mean, and I want to make sure I'm clear, that my results, my findings, are the same exact findings you will have in your particular setup. All right, every system is different, and it's like saying, does the medication work for everyone in the same way with the same side effects? That's not the case, right? Some medications don't really work with some people, so doctors have to try different alternative medicines to heal problems. There's a reason for that, because we're not all alike. So we're similar, but not the same. And so this is the same thing. This holds truth with systems. We may have similar systems, but they're not the same. And so I am going to be talking about my personal findings again with the critical mass footers. And I'm going to be very honest and very raw, of course, about it. And that's that. Okay? So, give you context before you guys, obviously start asking me on the comments below. I'm going to disclose, if you saw the video before, if you haven't seen the video prior to this video, please, I urge you to try it, listen to it. I'm going to put the description in the video below, on this video. Look on the description below, click on it, watch the full video, complete from beginning to end. One of the presentations was with the footers, and the other presentation was without the footers. Okay, the reason why I did this is so that there is nobody out there who's biased, who is going to select the presentation with the footers because they own the footers. So that's why I kept it very private. That's why I urge you all to leave comments below on the previous videos so that I understand what you guys are liking and what your sentiments are about both presentations. Okay, so I am going to go right now over my notes as far as what I wrote and my feelings overall, holistically speaking, about this particular tweak. All right, so the system consisted of Boulder 2150 monoblocks with the footers underneath them. I left the footers under the Boulders for 30 days as requested by Joe at Critical Mass. Because he is under the belief that some amplifiers like the Boulder monoblocks and the Relentless monoblocks, big boy amplifiers that are extremely well built, tend to take longer to settle, and the process tends to take just a little longer, and so I went ahead and followed his directions to leave the footers underneath the Boulders for 30 days. Yesterday was day 30. His recommendation was remove the footers, go out to lunch for an hour, let music play in the meantime, and come back and then listen to see what you feel happened to the presentation. So I did just that. And definitely there was a change in tonality. I'm not gonna lie, the things definitely make a change sonically. I thought this was all voodoo, and none of this really makes a difference. But the reality is, yes, the footers make a difference. They definitely change the way things sound. I really don't know how that happens. This is something that Joe keeps very secret. And so all I can say briefly is that basically it absorbs a lot of the vibration of the internal components, right? The transformers, anything inside, right? It basically isolates everything. So that turns into less distortion, more clarity and whatnot. But you can look at the website if you're interested in understanding how these footers work. But they can be used on any component. Okay, so this particular round has only to do with my Boulder monoblocks and nothing else. No other component here that you see. Okay, and if you want to know what the full setup was when I listened and auditioned them, please look at the previous video where I outlined essentially what was used for this exercise. All right, so here are my thoughts. With the footers on, okay, there was definitely more information, more micro details to the presentation. You did get, it seems like the music, like you went far deeper into the presentation and you found extra little things that may not be easily heard otherwise. And that's something that I thought the Boulder was already doing by itself without the footers, right? Because, it is very, very revealing stuff. There's no question about it. The 2150s and the matching line stage, it gave a level of information that is unbelievable. So using the footers, did add even yet another layer of information to the presentation. There was more air. I did feel that there was a little more air around the instruments, a little more space as well. And the bass was definitely just a tad deeper. You have to almost find the song to be able to pick that up, that the bass did change. It's a little harder to detect the change in bass, but it is definitely there. It definitely got a little deeper. Okay, that is what I have gathered as far as the improvements of these footers. Okay, now I'm going to go over what I found were negative things about the footers. Number one, the presentation has a little more of an artificial feel to it. It's like a synthetic feel to the presentation. I can say to you that over the last 30 days, if I'm very sincere with you guys, I did not engage with my system. I couldn't engage with my system. I was here, but my mind wasn't here. I felt like I wanted to leave the room 45, 50 minutes into the presentation. And this happened throughout the entire 30 days. This just didn't happen in the beginning where you would normally expect that to be the case because the footers are going through their ups and downs, right? So it's like a tube, right? Tubes go up and down until they finally settle. I found this to be the case with the entire time, throughout the entire time that I had the footers onto the Boulders. I couldn't get myself to listen. I tried song after song. As I kept cranking up the volume, yes, there was more information, but that didn't feel natural. It felt very forced. It felt like if you had a shot of Red Bull, if you will, on the presentation, right? Like too much caffeine in it. Okay, it was very energetic. Think about it like this: when you go to sleep and you get a good night rest, right, and you wake up fully rested, 8 hours of sleep, you go to the gym and you have natural energy, right, because you rested really good, right? So you had a good workout. So that's one feeling, right, that you get the real feel good because you rested good. Okay, now think about it like this: the next day you slept only 5 hours, so you're still somewhat sleepy. So you drink a pre-workout drink, right, with caffeine and whatnot, and you head to the gym. You're going to be wired at the gym, but it's not the same normal feeling, right? It's a very different feeling. It's a different type of energy that you get. It's a forced energy. with a pre-workout drink. That's kind of what the feeling is with the footers underneath my boulders. It lost the naturalness. It lost the organic feeling. It became, again, more artificially enhanced. Okay? Again, as I mentioned earlier, it was a tad fatiguing. I tend to be extremely sensitive to fatiguing sounds. My ears quickly will let me know when something is a little too bright and it bites too much. And so sometimes it also has to do with the mood that I'm in. If I'm tired, if I am not paying attention to the presentation, and what I do is go away, come back the next day, go away and come back the next day to see if things change. But after a few days of getting the same results, that's when I start to realize, hey, the presentation indeed is bright. And I thought it was me that I was tired. I thought it was perhaps the way I felt that day. No, indeed, it's bright. To be fair, this happened when I cranked up the volume to about 83 decibels. 83 decibels, 82, around their average decibel levels. I felt that the presentation had a little too much. And that included shrill, a feeling of shrill, a feeling of just too much of a good thing, if that makes sense. All right. So also, guitars bite a lot more, of course, but it also makes you feel like it gives you this ouch feeling every time a string was plucking, because it was a little too enhanced. It was a little too much. And that happened to be the case over and over and over again with a lot of acoustic music that I played here. The last one that I found was that the presentation, this is actually something very interesting, guys. Every song basically sounded the same. I felt like as I changed music, right, it almost felt like the Boulder, it took the neutrality of the Boulder away. It didn't allow for the Boulder 2150 to have the ability, the natural ability that it has in its DNA to literally throw the music at you and change and morph like a chameleon with the next song and the next song and the next song. It felt too can I say this to you? It just never changed sonically. Every song sounded the same. I almost felt like kind of like the feeling that you get when you own a tube amplifier, right? That every song sounds the same. It sounds good, but every song sounds the same. Or maybe a momentum amplifier or a Luxman amplifier, right? They're dialed to sound sweet and romantic, but every song sounds the same. That's the feeling that you got with these footers, okay? Now, I'm not saying the footers made the presentation romantic. No, I'm just giving you an example of what the footers did across the board with every single song. Okay, under my amplifiers. Again, I'll repeat this. This exercise has to do with my amplifiers, nothing else here. All right. Now, those are my thoughts with the footers on. Now, I removed the footers yesterday. Again, day 30 of this exercise. And I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't even leave the room for an hour like Joe has suggested I do. I said, you know what? I was listening to music before with the footers. So the music was playing for about 2 hours with the footers on when I recorded this video that you guys saw, the previous video. And then I removed the footers right after that. It was immediate, guys. It was like, damn, the boulders are back. I mean, the boulders came back immediately. Like it was, I sat down and it was like, and as the songs progressed and things kept playing, I felt like they began to get just better and better and better as I listened to more music. They were actually warmish, a little warmer sounding. There was, the musicality completely came back. I had a level of musicality that I just couldn't find, with the footers. And by the way, I am using synergistic research, cabling throughout. I even went ahead and me see if I can show you this to you all. See this right here? I even went ahead, and these are the tuning bullets that you put on the cables. I even went ahead and basically put all of these things on the cabling, right? To tune them. This is supposed to make things musical. It's supposed to allow the presentation to get a little more musical, as opposed to the silver one. The silver is the one that gives you a little more gives you a little more detail right here. This makes things a little just prettier, if you will, in terms of the sonics. And so I did that. I used the gold ones because I couldn't get any musicality with the footers on. So I was like, wow, what's going on? As soon as I took those footers off, guys, the musicality with the Boulder was back immediately. I went to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning listening to music. I never, in the 30 days that I had the footers under the Boulder, ever went to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't. I never felt engaged. I never felt that I wanted to sit here for long periods of time. I think the longest I sat here was probably an hour and 15 minutes with the footers on. When I took them off, again, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Any volume level. You want to go 100 miles an hour? Blast it. You won't feel like you're going 100 miles an hour. 50 miles an hour, 30 miles, it doesn't matter. It doesn't feel. You don't feel the music coming out at you aggressively. You don't feel the extra energy that you get with the footers. You don't feel any of that. So I was so comfortable in the chair playing song after song after song that I was like, wow, this is what I remember when I first got the Boulders. Okay. Again, it is definitely a far more natural and organic presentation without the footers. I think Boulder has done an excellent job here, guys, with the monoblocks. I think Boulder, in my opinion, has nailed it with these amplifiers. What I feel very happy about, guys, is the fact that Boulder, yes, they're $110,000 in monoblocks. We know this. But what I like about it is that Boulder is essentially saying, hey, just buy our amplifiers. Don't buy any tweaks. Plug them into the wall. Put them on a nightstand and be done. And that is so cool to know that you can buy a product like this and it needs nothing else around it. Meaning it doesn't need you to get all, creative with tweaks. It doesn't. It just sounds amazing the way it comes out of the box, out of the wooden crates. So that is something that I can't say about many other brands out there, many other amplifiers that I've owned, guys, that are still a lot of money. I can't say that about a lot of other amplifiers. And I've had a lot of other amplifiers. You know that if you watch my channel. So in my opinion, that's just a huge testament of the level of equipment that Boulder's putting out. The craftsmanship. Everything that Boulder makes, in my opinion, is just almost the extreme. It's like a military vehicle, right? It's like a tank. It's just there's no shortcuts taken. And every day that I listen to Boulder, I realize that over and over and over again. Okay? As I mentioned, one of the things that I hated about the footers was the fact that every song sounded the same. Without the footers, it's just bam, everything came back. Every song, the tonality, the colors, the shades, the flavors, it all changes. Song after song after song. You feel the connection to the song. You feel the emotion, if it has emotion in it, or the lack of emotion, or the aggressiveness. I mean, I'll be honest, I was listening to Marilyn Manson last night. Yes, you're going to call me crazy. I was listening to Marilyn Manson. I was listening to this other group called The Prodigy from the UK, and you guys know who it is. And what I was trying to do is mainly get a feel to see if I got into the obscure and dark nature of these songs. And yes, the Boulder was able to give me that. I felt in it. I felt right in it. I felt like, I was changing with each song the way I felt. And that's something that I could never say about the last generation of Boulder amplifiers. The sound stage, though, I would say one of the negatives after removing the footers was, I would say the sound stage definitely got a little smaller without the footers. It didn't feel as large. It just definitely got a little more in between the speakers. I would say the mids maybe got a little less projected into the room. I think you have to find a song really to really pick that up. But I'm not going to say that it doesn't sound amazing without the footers. I mean, you're still going to have a beautiful mid-range. It may not be probably to the level of the footers. But again, it is, guys, we're talking, you have to find the songs to really differentiate these things. I mean, it is that close. The imaging also has a feeling of righteousness and density to it that just feels perfect. It never felt too pushed at you. It never felt too forced. It never felt too in your face. It never felt as if, it was thrown at you, right? No, it just more like now it just travels and it comes out and it touches you and you feel comfortable and your gears don't take a hit with the level of information that you normally get with the footers. Okay, you do get a lot more information, but guys, I do believe there is a thing, where there is too much of a good thing, and I think that's what happened with the footers. So, in conclusion, guys, if you're asking my opinion, this is a great tweak, these footers. They are an amazing tweak that, in my opinion, will pay dividends on many components. Again, I still need to try. I might try with the Mephisto. I'm gonna try it, I'm sure, with the Boulder, preamplifier. I'm gonna try it maybe with the DCS stack. That's gonna happen. I'm gonna try it, right? I definitely have to. I have them, so I might as well try them. It will add, in my opinion, micro details in spades and more liveliness to your presentation. If you have an amplifier where you feel things are a little too relaxed, this is a great tweak. If you feel your amplifier is too warm, this is a great tweak. If you feel your amplifier is a little muffled, this is a great tweak for you. If you need a little more bass accuracy, this is going to help you with that. If you want a little more extension, if you will, or projection of the upper registers, this is going to be a good tweak for you. This is definitely going to add that. But I will say, as many other times, and I have said it many other times, critical matching is very important here. Careful matching is key. Don't assume that it will work for you favorably 100% of the time. There is no such thing as that. Don't listen to anybody. Don't believe in the hype. Don't believe in what he said, she said. Okay? Nothing works 100% of the time in audio. Nothing. And yes, although something can change the sound on everything you use it with, it doesn't mean it's going to change it in the right way, towards the right way, in a positive way, right? It doesn't mean that will be the case. So, although yes, this component has changed tonality, I am going to go out and say that, in my opinion, critical mass 1.5 footers are a bust with a Boulder 2150. In my opinion, I am going to rate this critical mass footer a C- with my Boulder 2150s. I believe they did not add to the more natural sound and organic feeling to the presentation. I never really thought that I couldn't sit and engage myself with the music. Everything again sounded the same, and yeah, guys, to be sincere with you, I think it's been a failure with my 2150s. I can't lie. I mean, I gotta put it out there, right? It just and I was very honest, and obviously I will make sure that I communicate this with Joe at Critical Mass. That hey, your footers with Boulder, with the big boys, I just don't think so. I don't think they add a positive change to the presentation. Now, if I had speakers maybe that were a little warmer, like maybe I had, I don't know, a Harbeth speaker, or maybe a speaker that added information would be beneficial, I can see where that could be the change. But with what you see here in front of you, no good. I just didn't like it. Okay, so C- is what I really give this. I will continue to try them on other components. For now, I think I am done messing around with tweaks with boulders. All I'm going to do, and I wanted to put it out there, is I have ordered power cords for my boulders. We are about to do, finally, a real power cord on my monoblocks. Stay tuned to find out what that power cord will be. Should be here hopefully in the next week or so. And I will share that with you guys as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I wanted to be as honest as possible about my findings. Hopefully you guys can make some, smart, purchases out there. Remember that the intent here is to just give you my opinion, nothing else. And I can't guarantee that my findings will be the same, with your systems. You might find something totally different than what I have found. But if you own Boulder monoblocks out there, the big boys, don't even worry about it. I did the homework for you. Put your money away. Spend it somewhere else. Buy some power cords. Thank you for your time again, guys. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and I will be in touch with you all. Take care.